find your email writing voice to make your emails irresistible. This is a little bit of a misnomer. So a lot of times people will say, how do I find my voice? It feels awkward when I'm emailing or writing blog posts or that sort of thing. And it's really code for I don't know what to say. This is a really, really common problem. That's where everybody starts. Because you'll sit there and you'll just have your ConvertKit or your system.io. You'll stare at the screen and you're going to be like, okay, well, what do I say? And you'll type something out and you'll erase it and you'll go back and you're like, well, what am I doing here? What you need to do is find the purpose of your newsletter. You need to have a purpose for anything you're doing in your business. So I know you all want to sell more. Like you want to drive more traffic to your TBT store, right? And that's what we all want to do. But if you can find a purpose, that's really going to help you. If your purpose is to give teachers like tech tips, you can do that. If you want to give them summaries of books to read, you can do that. Whatever your purpose is, it's kind of like it's related to your TPT store. So use that, and then that's going to help you. Once you know your purpose, it's going to come smooth as butter. You're going to know what it is. So then here's a few another ideas I had: funny student stories, obscure history of whatever Spanish. I know we had one Spanish in here. You can do time-saving teaching hacks. There's lots of things you can do, um, and this will really help you. For example, I have a chemistry store in addition to my Teacherpreneur email template and copywriting store. And this is what I do. I teach teachers how to draw chemistry. I teach them how to color code the steps when they're like solving math sort of things, and provide them with step-by-step instructions on how to teach chemistry. So if you don't have this mapped out for yourself, for your store, for your emails, you're going to get stuck. So the first thing I would say you should do when you're trying to find your voice is to figure out your purpose and then lay 3 things out like this. And that is going to make it so much easier, and you're going to get a lot less frustrated and upset and start over like 3 more times. So for my Teacherpreneur store, it's teach copywriting to inspire easy email blog writing that's not salesy. I don't want anything to do with that. We all sell, but we don't have to be salesy. And then to teach voice. So write it fun. You'll see how we do that later. So making it fun is a big part of what we do, because if it's not fun for you, it's not going to be fun for your readers to read. Go back and think about how you brand yourself. Have you thought about this yet? One thing you can do is look at this map and identify yourself on this map. Are you the Little Miss Sunshine teacher? Are you the disgruntled teacher? Like, have you been teaching for 20 years and you are sick and tired of the way it's been done? Are you the A+ teacher? Does everybody ask you over and over again, oh, can you help me with this, that? Can you decorate my board? Can you show me how you do whatever it is that you do? Are you the we're all doomed teacher? Maybe you are blazing a trail. Maybe you're the teacher who's figuring out AI for all the rest of us. Maybe you're the translating teacher. You're saying, oh, well, this is what this set of standards means. So all those are different types, and you might be able to see yourself in those. Okay, so here's the mom teacher. This one happens more often than not. So if you're in the classroom, you speak gently. You don't want your audience to make the same mistakes you did. You give advice, you give guidance. Your sentences are often short because you're explaining things in a very clear, concise way. Your vocabulary is not like, if you're teaching AI to everybody, you're not going to use AGI and some of those big acronyms or any of that. You're going to be very simple, straightforward, step by step. You can kind of tell you're the mom teacher if all the students come and hang out in your room, even after they're like 2 grades ahead. That's usually a good indicator. The A+ teacher is somebody who is really over the top, and usually it's their coworkers asking for help as opposed to teachers. And you'll have longer sentences, higher vocab, because you're an authority or an authority figure. Often teachers like this will have higher prices on TPT because they do have that authority piece. Um, are you guys recognizing yourself in some of these? I know a lot of people identify with this one. This is the quirky teacher. You make up dances or words, or you're just ridiculous. Sometimes you're over the top. I was talking to a Spanish teacher when I gave a presentation sometime this year, and she did make up dances to some of her conjugation verbs or something like that. And she definitely identified with this. You often are figuring out really out of the box ways to do things. Your sentences are also usually shorter, and you put your quirks into memorable lessons. Like a lot of times you'll be making mnemonics or different things like that. The disgruntled teacher has often been teaching for a while and just wants to burn the system down. They're railing against the system or the standards or the admin or whatever it is. And you have a platform and you're going to stand on that soapbox and yell until somebody starts listening. This one's a really easy one to write for because you have so much passion embodied inside of you. And I'm just skipping over some of these, kind of giving you guys a high level, and then we can go back and discuss details if you need. The bestie teacher. This is someone that you would sit at Starbucks and drink coffee with. You're pretty open about your business. You talk about the good, the bad, the censored things. Use stories from real life. You're very, very relatable. You tend to have a lot of coworker friends. That's one way you can tell that you're the teacher bestie. And this is what we're doing. We're taking our real life personality in these characters, and we're going to apply it to our emails. So if you see yourself, and often you'll see yourself in two. The one we don't want to be is this one. You'll see a lot of teacherpreneurs say, "Hey, girl, teacher friend." They'll you'll see how everybody starts their emails. And if you can find a unique way to start your emails off, then you're going to be so far ahead of everybody else, and your emails will automatically be that much more interesting. So you might want to see an example of this because that's a lot. So what we're going to do is look at a few examples here. So say you're going to do that gift card giveaway. They usually do a back to school sale, and you say, "Hey, teacher friend, all summer I've been working hard on this, and I finally share this big news. I've got 15 new products in my store just in time for the site-wide sale. To celebrate, I'm going to give away 5 TPT gift cards. To enter, click this Instagram post and leave a comment." Okay, so this is pretty standard TPT stuff. ChatGPT would have no problem cranking this out. However, I'm going to show you some issues that, this is a fine way to start, but we can go beyond this. "Hey, teacher friend," and then make this you. How do you say hey to your friends at school? How do you say hey to your students? How do you say hey to your coworkers? How do you say hey to your boss? Is it hey? Is it hey, Katie? You could also just skip it. This is what I do in my Teacherpreneur email newsletter, and I don't even call out anybody's name or anything. I just own that it's a newsletter. You're all reading it. We all know this. And so you can choose your style for this. So this is something you want to make a conscious decision for and go with it. And then something we might want to look at a little further within this is look at the number of times they said "I." So I would call this selfish copy, and you want to try to talk about them as much as possible, not so much you. So I kind of highlight this. This is more of a salesy Susie way of doing it, and we would want to kind of remove that as much as possible. So here's one way I rewrote it. Let's see if I've got something. Do I have a question here? I know. Okay, you hate it when they call you your friend. Yeah, me too. I'm like, come on, please, don't even. I love that. Okay, glad I'm not alone. So here's the way I would rewrite this. We're about to face the music. Our reprieve is over. According to Target, we should have been back 1.5 months ago. Killjoys. We love the students. The admin shenanigans is the worst part of going back, right? So what I'm doing is I'm trying to relate to the teacher going back. Even if I'm not going back myself, this is me going, yeah, we hate this part, right? And so I'm relating with them. I'm getting on the same page with them. And then I'm a little bit, I said killjoys. And then you'll notice I said Um, I'd rather be doing all these other things. So I'm a little bit disgruntled about it. So this is more of the disgruntled teacher tone who wrote this one. And then either way, you can get those 14 hours back with this bundle that's on sale tomorrow and Wednesday. So this would be an email we would send out Monday before their back to school sale. So plus you emailing me back and I'm giving an incentive for them to engage with me. So this is just a way to send an email that's a little more interesting to read as opposed to just the, hey, please go click this link, right? It takes more effort. It's going to be worth it though. It's going to be so worth it. Here's another point of view. You might rewrite the same email. So it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Can you smell the hope and happiness with the new boxes of crayons and the milestones that the students are passing out on the pages of paper? The potential that a new year has is invigorating. If you love a fresh start like this, but need a little more time, and then I talk about the packet I'm giving away. So you can tell the words. This is the like Little Miss Sunshine teacher versus the disgruntled teacher. You would just take whatever your personality is and relate with the teachers. And you don't have to start out writing. I took this email, the vanilla salesy Susie email, and I just kept rewriting it until I'm like, okay, I'm gonna think about the disgruntled teacher. How would the disgruntled teacher feel about going back to school? Okay, how does the Little Miss Sunshine teacher feel about going back to school? And then I started writing, and it took several iterations. You can use ChatGPT for this and just change it to match you. Um, and that's what we're doing here. Let's see. So then this one, I'm probably not going to go through because it didn't sound like it doesn't sound like there's as many elementary teachers in here. So then the last thing, I think this is the last one, you want to do is get some specifics on how to do this. So here's the steps when you start writing your emails. Define your 3 whys. Choose your character voice. So that would be like the mom teacher, the bestie teacher, the disgruntled teacher. Choose who you are in real life, and you're going to infuse that into your emails. And then you're going to use the techniques. And I think that's what I'm going to show you next. So the first thing you have to do before you can use the techniques is write an email. So it can be bad. It can be really, really bad. It does not matter how bad it is. You just start an email and then we're going to work on it. So consider the season. Like right now, we're writing for back to school. You need to know what your teachers are thinking about back to school. Do you want to talk to the frustrated teacher? Do you want to talk to the excited teacher? Do you want to talk to the first year teacher? That's where you're at in your head when you're writing this. Then you want to consider your item to sell. Is it fun? Is it out of necessity? Is it decor? Is it helpful? Um, this helps you because if it's a must have, the thing you want to advertise is that they're going to save time. If it's fun, it's a way for them to relate to students. So it requires you to think a little bit deeper about why they want to buy this or what approach would help them buy this and they would enjoy it more. The last thing is consider what your voice sounds like. So once you've gotten it written, is there a way that you can rewrite something to amplify your voice? If you went back, that slide, let's see, I'll show you. If we go back to the slide, like right here where I said it's coming, I'm trying to like make my voice in here. And then where I strike out playing with new school supplies, it's really decorating pinning. We're just saying 2 different ways to do that. I'm amplifying my voice. So then that's how we're doing that. All right. Now, if you need just a few more tips, this is things that we need to consider. Our punctuation has changed so much. So you have to make sure you're reading articles on emails that have been published, in the last, let's go with 5 years, because of this reason right here. Everything has changed. Think about how you text. If you work on writing your emails the way you text your friends, that's going to take you a long way. You know how if you're texting a friend and you hear a period and you see a period, like I'm fine, period. That's like, ooh, did I do something wrong? Is there a problem here? Should I have said that another way? Or if they just said, I'm fine, no period, it's like, oh, okay, things are good, right? So we're taking those little nuggets of knowledge that we have in here from text messaging and all the way communications have changed over the last few years, and we're putting that into our emails, and this is going to make it more fun. We are another technique you can use is spacing. I love to take advantage of this. Sometimes I will space a lot at the beginning. If there's a point I really want to get across, sometimes I'll skip 3 or 4 lines as opposed to 2 lines and really draw the eye to that one line. You can bold, you can italics, all these things you can use, but it needs to be part of your character that you're defining. Let's see here. This is something you also might want to consider. If you're an English teacher, it's going to be pretty obvious what you're going to say and not say. So you won't say, let me guess, or you won't say, let me guess. You would say, let me guess. You'd be very technical. Whereas, if you were I'll say you're a football coach and you have TBT products for, I don't even know what that would look like. You would go, I don't know. You could totally get away with that. So you have to know where your audience is at, what you can get away with some of this fun stuff. So relax your vocab down from where it would be with colleagues, just one notch. And so the way I write to my chemistry teachers is a little bit different than the teacherpreneurs. And you're going to want to keep this in mind where your teachers are at. Here's some shenanigans. I'm going to go crazy if I don't get some more support. So this would be a way to show like frustration or just ridiculousness of admin not supporting you. And that shows their motion coming through in that text. And then the monotone. You don't teach in a monotone, so throw out the textbook, right? So these are just ways, and you can collect little ways anytime you see something in a blog article or somebody else's email or something like that. You're like, oh, that's a cool way to write that. And then you can use it when you're trying to say something else later. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Thoughts? And then you could also say, instead of you, all caps, you could do dots after each one. You could do dashes. You could italicize it. It could be all lowercase. It could be all uppercase. You just think about the emotion and how that's going to change things for your audience. Is your audience going to relate with it? And you might not know at first, but these are all things that you can do to bring your view across. So you could say, was your day frustrating? But you could say this way more interesting. So I've got an example here for an elementary school teacher, high school chemistry teacher, and a TPTer. So you could say, which is as frustrating as tying wet post-potty tennis shoes, surprise observation, and unresponsive parents. Or you could say, you could jump down TPT, was your day as frustrating as TPT Q&A, egregious errors, there's lots of ways you could say this and really relate to your audience. This is how you put your personality in there, because everybody's going to have a slightly different experience. And if you put your version of frustrating in there, people are going to laugh, but they're also going to relate to it. Another technique you can use is put a snide comment in your copy. You'll see this all over the place in my emails. I love to do this. You make a statement and then you do a parenthetical aside on it. You can use like the first example and actually use parentheses, but you could do the second example and you could do italicized text. You could also use the em dashes and put your thought right in the middle of the text. I like doing this. So if I have something technical or just boring, I can make a comment on it with my text. That'll really show your personality, because everybody's going to make, they might have the same sentiment, but they're going to say it differently. So you're going to say it differently. So use that technique when you're trying to find your voice. So the way you find your voice is you do need to define your purpose to the world. What is the purpose for your email list? What is the purpose for your blog? What is the purpose for your TBT store? Find those three, whether it's tech tips, whether it's showing a new problem-based learning style, or whatever it is, figure that out. You saw my examples at the beginning of the presentation for both of my stores. Figure that out for yours. Then choose your character voice. Me, I'm more the bestie. I have a little bit of some of the other ones in my two different brands. It's okay if you're a kind of a blend of the two. Most people are. Then you want to use the techniques that I showed you. Use the parenthetical asides. Use some of those fun ways to write text. And that's really going to help you find your voice. Write the boring email and then add these things in. most of my emails will start out with something. It's not brilliant right away. It takes practice. So if you want to, let me do a few more examples and then we will end this. So the last stretch, this is just like a boring email. Happy Tuesday, Katie. This is something somebody sent me, I think, and I just rewrote it. So happy Tuesday. It's the last stretch for the quarter. I'll keep this short and sweet. Need an activity. I love this free reading puzzle. This product came with an answer key and like all this. So I'd love to hear from you. And it's just vanilla. Anybody could, Chat GPT could write this email. You want to become unchat GPTable. So one thing, I would eliminate this first pink part. This is very salesy, Susie. You don't want to say that I'll keep this short and sweet. You just want to keep it short and sweet. So you just like eliminate that. Here's how I would do it. Would you like 5 extra hours to finish grading? Grades are due in a week and a half. You're never going to get everything graded and entered. Not only that, you're so behind that maybe you haven't planned all the lessons this week. And they really need to get this last concept because like nobody wants to admit that, but you can kind of slide it in with the maybe. And then you want to draw their attention to a free puzzle, self-directed, and you can practice while you grade. I mean, people do this. We try not to, but sometimes we get in a pinch and it happens. This is kind of a end of the school year email. And then if you think it's a bit, this is where you give a hint. You're like, if it's a bit advanced for some of your students, work through these problems and then tell them to do these others on their own. You're just giving them a hint. You're telling them exactly how to do it. You're saving them time and they would love that. So it's the same email. It just has more personality to it. And it's just more helpful because they thought about it a little bit more. So finding your voice is going to take time. But once you get it, you will be able to spit stuff like that out, like this out much faster. Another way you could do this, you could say, if you can't remember if this one was for a different grade, they've done it again. This is more of a disgruntled voice. Grades are due in 11 days, and how they expect us to get everything graded and entered when they're constantly adding to our responsibilities. Not only that, but you're so behind, and maybe you haven't planned all the lessons this week, and they really need to get this last concept. So see, some of the materials we change is the same, but you're changing the tone of voice. Like they've done it again. That's very accusatory. And then it's pretty much the same past that, but you're just changing the tone. You can change this however you want and it'll fit your brand because it'll be your voice. So if you want to hang out with me, you want to learn more about these email techniques, and some more of my videos with my kids interrupting, you can go to my website, Teacherpreneur, Email and More, and you can add /voice if you want a guide to this. And then you can go to my Instagram, Teacherpreneur, Email and More, and learn more about voice, copywriting, and email writing that is easy and fun. I really want to make email writing fun for you. And I've done a lot of different things to make it fun for you so you really will enjoy it. If you don't, you can always email me. And if you do, you can email me. And that email is email@cosinecreative.com. So I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you thought about this workshop. And I'll talk to you soon in Facebook groups. Bye.